Good morning, everyone. It's a very, very full house this morning, so I'm very glad to see so many SVP members, SVP staff, also peers in the sector, people from other community and voluntary organisations, indeed civil servants, public officials, people who we work with in the social justice, day-to-day advocacy work. So we're very, very proud to host you. We're very, very proud, obviously, to have hosted President Michael D Higgins. Before I move on to the substantive issue of our research on one-parent families, the experience of one-parent families who have been assisted by the Society of St Vincent de Paul, I just want to spend a few moments just to reflect perhaps on what President Higgins has said to us this morning. We've just heard from the President about the relevance of his ethics initiative, or of our ethics initiative, if you like, to organisations like ourselves, and indeed our friends in the community and voluntary sector who are with us this morning also. So I guess at this stage, in a very warm room in the bowels of the Davenport, you are digesting what President Higgins has shared with us today. And Jeff's response also reflects our values, our core values with regard to both the writing and the reflections of our founder, Frederick Ozanam, all those years ago in the 1830s in Paris. So what does ethics mean to you? Is it an academic exercise? Have you heard it before? And if so, in what context? Do you see it as something abstract? Thank you very much. Or indeed something which is part and parcel of what you do. Obviously, we associate ethics with morals, with maybe science and medicine, with law, with business conduct. Does it sound something which kind of you can relate to, or do you glaze over and disengage? Or how about values or vision? Is that easier to talk about? Is it easier to talk about a vision for Irish society? So I want to ask you a number of questions there just to kind of reflect on what that might mean as we engage on this kind of journey of debating what kind of society, what kind of recovery that we want. But the fact that you're here, present today, you've made the effort to attend President Higgins's speech and our event here, means that apart from curiosity, you are working from some kind of base of values, either as an SVP member, as a staff member, a donor or a friend, indeed, to our causes. So you have a sense of why the organisation does what it does, what kind of change in people's lives are envisaged when SVP helps a person or a family, or advocates a policy position on the airwaves, or to ministers, or indeed to some of you as public or civil servants here present in the Davenport. So as President Jeff Marr said, we've commenced, and we'll do this piece by piece, a national conversation on the kind of values that should underpin Irish society. So as Ireland's tentative economic recovery appears to gather pace, and as we approach both the centenary of the 1916 Rising and indeed approach the next general election, conversations are being had across the country about what shapes the government budgets should take and the policies for an Ireland after the bust, after the bank bailouts, and after the Troika. And as we see house prices rising in Dublin and other urban areas, and rents rising similarly, and as various bodies advocate for changes in budgets, for example, changes to income tax, and as we all fall liable in October the 1st, for water charges, this is indeed an opportune time to ask what kind of vision we have individually and collectively as an organisation, or indeed as a society with a small s, and what vision there could be for a fair and sustainable society based on Frederick Ozanam's thinkings. So we've officially commenced that today, and we just want to mark that. And obviously, given our profile as a national charity and our values, we do provide a platform today so that President Higgins' initiative is highlighted among both our own membership here, and if you tell the story to your conferences, to areas, to regions about this initiative, and across community and voluntary organisations. President Higgins has already mentioned to you the organisations which are also engaging in some kind of ethics or values-based conversation. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but say for those of you who have just heard about these various conversations for the first time, I think it is important to underline them, because we may be involved and will be involved to some extent with some of those initiatives. Firstly, the Wheels People's Conversation. So the Wheel, we're a member of the Wheel, an umbrella organisation, and it's partnering with various other organisations who are also present here today to have those consultations and those conversations regarding what is shaping our future and the role of citizens in society. Also mentioned DOCUS, and I understand both the Wheel and DOCUS are represented here, so you're very welcome. DOCUS, the Overseas Development Umbrella Organisation, is hosting events during the 2015 European Union Year of Development. And this is where members and associates will consider what development means, I guess what poverty, what development means now, both for Ireland and the wider world. So we're an associate member of DOCUS, and we look forward to an involvement in this project. And that's running for the whole of 2015. Also, another group is called Claiming Our Future. It's a looser network of activists, and they're due to launch a declaration of values sometime later this year. Social Justice Ireland is going to have some kind of process alongside the Women's Council, who were mentioned earlier, and indeed the Irish Congress of Trade Unions. So there are many large national organisations who are grappling with this issue of what kind of recovery we want. We want both north and south. So there's a lot happening or planned. And the risk is that resources go into the same conversations, or conversations been had multiple times, or the same people being consulted over and over. And there's a risk, possibly, that lessons and themes from these various events are not necessarily shared or learned. So in order to avoid these risks, we're currently bringing groups together on a regular basis. Over the next 9 to 15 months, depending on the duration of the various projects, and that depends on the various organisations themselves, we'll meet with all the other organisations and the various umbrella groups that I just mentioned, and we'll try to ensure that we're not missing anything, we're not losing very important conversations or narratives, and that we're using limited resources in the best way. So where we go from here as SVP? Well, regarding the ethics initiative, that is not fully scoped out yet. It's not fully locked down or decided. And it depends on the plans, on the work, and on what emerges from those other initiatives and organisations. But what's really important, and Jeff has indeed emphasised this morning, is that we don't wish to replicate what has already been planned by others. But one event that we will be involved in, responding to President Higgins' call, is in mid-November, or Saturday the 15th of November to be precise. And if you like, it's the next stage in the journey. And the annual Ozanam event, as it's known, is going to be taking place in SVP House, Sean McDermott Street. It's going to be organised by the Vincentian Partnership for Social Justice, and Sister Bernadette is present here. And it's going to gather SVP members, many of you here, hopefully, the Daughters of Charity, the Holy Faith Sisters, the Vincentian Fathers. So this year it's going to take place in our own offices, and it will comprise of a number of engaging speakers on the very issues of ethics, values, and a fair society. And delegates will be asked to respond as to what kind of vision might inform public discourse, the kind of public discourse that President Higgins has talked about. And I guess we need to reflect on that in terms of what that discourse might be at individual level, with our families, our friends, our communities, to government and societal levels. So for members wishing to attend, please let me or indeed Sister Bernadette know. If Sister Bernadette's in the audience, she might make her presence known, or indeed her colleagues. But places are limited, so I don't want to promise something that we can't deliver in terms of numbers. So what is your vision this morning, or in a couple of months' time, or post-budget day, or indeed next year. Please have conversations with your conferences, if you're in conferences. Please have conversations at area and regional level. Please have conversations within your own organizations, government agencies, regulators. I guess it's what we do at the coffee table or the water cooler anyway, but what we're asking is a more structured approach. We're going to be part of that, but there also are a variety of other organisations playing their part there, and a number of spaces and opportunities for people to be involved in. But as long as they're strongly articulated over the course of the next 15 months, which we believe is absolutely crucial as we approach the centenary of the 1916 Rising and indeed the next general election, that's the critical factor.